Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into our weekly San Francisco 49ers news and rumors video here on Chat Sports. We got a bunch of new little, actually kind of a fun news and rumors video for you guys here today. Let's go ahead and jump right into our first story, starting with Nick Bosa, and a story that came out, basically talked about how soon, how early did the 49ers know that they were going to take Nick Bosa at number 2 overall. Now remember, let's go all the way back, right? Pre-draft stuff. We did a lot of this stuff here on Chat Sports. The Niners sat at number 2, and I had heard and I had reported the Niners were very, very torn on Bosa versus Bosa versus Quinnen Williams. But apparently, the 49ers knew as early as February that they were going to go ahead and take Nick Bosa. The story goes, after the NFL Combine, which again, a long time before the draft, the 49ers sat down and had decided on taking Nick Bosa at number 2 overall. Now, like I said, doesn't mean they didn't think about Quinnen Williams, but there was mention inside the organization that possibly the coach might like one, the GM might like the other, and then the owner might like another. So you have 3 people vying for 2 different players. Now, that might have been still true, but it looks like it might not have run on as long as we expected it to. You know, they were debating until pre-draft. They were going to debate. Instead, the Niners knew as early as the NFL Combine, especially that week, after seeing Nick Bosa up close in person, seeing him work out on the field, and then, of course, seeing him in all those private and personal meetings. They liked what they saw, and they had decided then and there to go ahead and take Nick Bosa at number 2 overall. And I remember, they're sitting at number 2. So it's not like it's that hard of a job to go, okay, Cardinals are probably going to take Kyler Murray, which means we can take anyone we want in the draft. Let's go ahead and zero in on Nick Bosa, which I think should make people even more excited, because now we know how excited the 49ers front office and team was to get Nick Bosa, how much they wanted to get him, and how early on they liked him. That means that, hey, they think he's going to be a cornerstone defensive end for many, many years to come. But again, Nick Bosa's stats, 3 years at Ohio State, again, 3 years where he had some injuries, 17.5 sacks, 47 solo tackles, and then 29 tackles for loss. Listen, this kid, when healthy, can be very, very dominant, a very, very good defensive end in this league. I'm curious what you guys think. How many sacks will Nick Bosa have this year? Go and type your number down below. I'm going to say between 6 and 10. Now, you got to remember, right? We got to preface this and say that, hey, rookie defensive ends normally don't have big sack numbers. Like Bradley Chubb for Denver a couple years back was a guy who had like 12. Everybody else, you know, Derek Barnett for Philadelphia out of Tennessee, it's like 6, it's like 7. It takes a little bit for these pass rushers to figure it out, so I would predict, my prediction is Nick Bosa is going to have between 6 and 10 sacks. Let's go with 8. Okay, Nick Bosa 8 sacks this year if he stays healthy. Again, what do you guys think? Go ahead and comment and write down below. Moving right along here, another story that is coming out of San Francisco. Are the 49ers not interested at all in retiring any numbers going forward? Are they just simply not even going to retire? Like, are they just not even going to retire numbers? A new story coming out here saying that the 49ers have zero interest in continuing to add numbers or take away numbers from players on the field. Terrell Owens, Patrick Willis, and Frank Gore are all eligible, right? The report says that all these 3 players are eligible to have their numbers retired. Obviously, T.O.'s 81, Frank Gore, there's a lot of big numbers here. But 49ers CEO Jed York said he has a good reason for not wanting to retire these numbers. Here's the quote. We'll throw it up for you guys right now. Jed York said, quote, "I just feel like there's a way to do it that respects players of the past, but also allows players in the present and future to continue to wear a number." And that was, of course, that was the CEO, Jed York, of the San Francisco 49ers. So here's what they're going to do. The Niners instead are going to go ahead and invite and, I guess, induct T.O., Patrick Willis, and Frank Gore into the 49ers Ring of Honor instead of retiring their number. This might all sound bizarre to you. You're sitting there and you're going, Thomas, like, just retire T.O.'s number. Or Thomas, just retire Frank Gore's number. Just do it. It's not that big a deal. Here's the real reason. The 49ers have so many, franchise numbers, so many great franchise players. Jerry Rice, he sat there with Joe Montana, he sat there with Steve Young, T.O. We have too many good players. You can't just keep retiring all these numbers because, again, you need 53 different numbers for your 53-man roster, and before that, you need 90 different numbers during the offseason when you're trying to whittle it down from training camp. This is the reason they're not going to retire any numbers. They're just going to try to move you into the Ring of Honor. To me, zero problem with this, right? This makes sense. Most teams don't have this luxury. This is a luxury of teams that have had a lot of success in the past And listen, it's good to be a 49ers fan in the past, and right now I think it's good to be a 49ers fan as well. I think it's fine. I'm all okay with it, but look for Willis and T.O. and Frank Gore to be inducted into the Ring of Honor sooner rather than later. Moving right along here. So our own Mitchell Renz here at Chat Sports did a video, which we'll link to, stating his own ranking of every single running back in the NFL. Now, we'll preface this. It's every single team's starting running back in the National Football League, and so I was going to go ahead and take a look. Where does he have our 49ers running backs? I'm curious where he has them sitting there. If you go to his list, which is again on YouTube, on chatsports.com, only one 49er running back made the list, and it is Tevin Coleman, who he has at number 20. Now, you sit there and you go, okay, number 20, it's not too bad. Here are some of the names around him, right? So 22 was Josh Jacobs, his Raiders running back, which, let's just be honest here, Mitchell is the Raiders report guy. That's a little bit crazy to have Josh Jacobs at 22, ahead of Jordan Howard at 23, ahead of Kerryon Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, LaShawn McCoy. All right, Mitchell, let's relax a little bit. Josh Jacobs might be good. We have no idea how good he's going to be just yet. Other names who actually made it above of Tevin Coleman, Leonard Fournette was 19, Sonny Michel was 18, Mark Ingram 17, and Kerryon Johnson there at number 15 as well. I think I said Kerryon Johnson earlier. I meant Kenyon Drake is what I meant there. Listen, this list, honestly, I'm pretty much fine where Tevin Coleman is at because, again, look at who's in front of him, right? Leonard Fournette at 19, Sonny Michel at 18, Mark Ingram, Johnson, Chubb, Jones, Cook, Freeman. There are too many good running backs. The running back position is at an all-time high right now in terms of the amount of talent that we have, which is why running backs are basically devalued in the NFL these days. That's why they don't make a lot of money, because you see the list, there's a ton of great running backs around the National Football League. I have no problem with number 20. My question is going to be the 49ers depth chart. We can throw on the screen right now. Coleman, McKinnon, Breida. 1, 2, 3 punch. Who of them is going to be the most productive this year? We think, it's easy to say we expect Tevin Coleman to be that because that's what they paid him to do. They expect him to be the running back number 1. But I would just say this. Don't be surprised if Matt Breida has an absolutely monster year, a big breakout. Not even a breakout year. He's had good years in the past. But I would not be surprised if Breida also has a big year as well. So a question for you guys. Who do you think is going to have the most productive year for the 49ers this season running the football? Is it Coleman, is it McKinnon, or is it Breida? Let me know in the comments down below. Listen, it's a great 1, 2, 3 punch, right? It's probably one of the best 1, 2, 3 punches in the entire National Football League. But I'm curious, out of these three, which you guys think will be correct. And also, I'll throw a little bonus one here. You can look up Mitch's list, 1 through 32. Tell me what's wrong, what do you like, what do you don't like? Because again, the ones before Tevin Coleman are okay. But Josh Jacobs at 22, come on, let's relax a little bit there, Mitch. All in good fun. Continuing on here. This one's actually really fascinating. It blew my mind whenever I read this. It's not necessarily news as much as it is a hilarious, I guess, coincidence. All right, anyway, here we go. So, there's a famous song that I think has predicted the next time the 49ers will play in the Super Bowl. Think about this. Okay, remember Steve Miller's famous song from the Steve Miller Band, Rockin' Me, right? And then keep on rockin' me. I'm not going to sing it. Rockin' Me, Baby, right? Came out in 1976, okay? So the lyrics mention the past 4 teams the Patriots have played in their last 4 Super Bowls. Right? Are you following me here? Maybe you don't recognize the song. Again, we'll throw the lyrics up here in a second. 49ers fans, you guys are really going to like this. Okay, so here are the lyrics to Rockin' Me. Okay, and if you haven't heard the song, pause the video, YouTube it, then come on back. But here's what it says. I went from Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, Atlanta, LA, Northern California, where the girls are warm. You guys know this song, right? Very, very popular. Even if you're young like me, you know this song. Here's the deal. Look at the lyrics. So, the Patriots' last 4 Super Bowl opponents, Seattle, Atlanta, Philadelphia, the Rams. Tacoma, very close to Seattle, Washington. Philadelphia, right there. Atlanta, right there. LA, right there. So this song, written and published or produced in 1976, has actually predicted the last 4 Super Bowl opponents the Patriots have played. I know, this is ridiculous, and it's not even in order because the Eagles played after Atlanta. We gotta admit, it's kind of weird, right? It's a little creepy. The cherry on top is the final line here after LA. Northern California. Who's in Northern California? We are, right? The 49ers are. So, I'm not saying it's going to happen, But I'm saying that the next time the Patriots are in the Super Bowl, you can bet your bottom dollar the 49ers are going to be there as well because it matches the song, and the song has not been wrong. Right, the song has been accurate so far. Listen, I just think this is hilarious. I had to throw this in for you guys because you're gonna read this and go, "Oh wow, will you look at that? It's actually pretty much dead on." Okay, question based off this song: what would you do? Okay, what would you do for a Super Bowl appearance for the 49ers this year? What would you do? What would you give up? What would you do? I'm very curious because I know how passionate we are, and it's been a while since we won a Super Bowl. What would you do? Would you have to give up to let the 49ers go to the Super Bowl this year? I'm very curious about these comments. Scroll down below, type them up. I'm curious what you guys have to say there. And then finally, this is actually very interesting here. Not just, the song that's funny. This is an interesting bit of information. The 49ers are going to a new defensive scheme. All right, I'll go explain it to you guys. So the 49ers have been using a typical 4-3 defense over the past couple of years. They brought in a new defensive line coach who is going to be implementing some new ideas that mainly is going to be the implementation of the wide 9 defense. Now, a lot of you football junkies are going to recognize the wide 9 defense. You remember back to, let's go with the Philadelphia Eagles a couple years back. Remember when they had like Jason Babin and Trent Cole as pass rushers? You probably don't, but it was a couple years back. The wide 9 essentially means take your 2 defensive ends, push them out even further. Right, so instead of a base 4-3 right there, it's like I can't do it with my fingers. Like the 2 defensive tackles in the middle, the wide 9, the defensive ends are further out on the outside. Now, you're wondering, Thomas, what does this mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. What does it matter to my 49ers? Here are the pros and cons, I did them for you, of the wide 9. So the wide 9 will promise, hopefully, a better pass rush, okay? More cover 2 schemes, which again, a lot of weird defensive terms here, but the cover 2 will help, essentially should be able to help in pass coverage and let the 49ers secondary get some breaks here. They should be able to run it just fine. And finally, the defensive ends will have more one-on-one opportunities because the tackle has to work so far out to, get to the defensive end whenever he's lined up on the outside. Now, there are some cons. Widening your defensive ends means there's less defenders in the middle, meaning the defense is more susceptible to the inside run. Linebackers will have to do a lot more in run support here, probably why they went out and got Quan Alexander, I'm just saying. And linebackers will also be further off the ball, the way the defense works, which means that getting to outside runs could be hard as well. Just because your defensive ends are out there does not mean that they cannot do a toss to the right and get around the defensive end, and then the linebacker has to make a move on the outside. I don't know how I feel about this, right? The pros are there, but the cons are there as well. I'm curious if the wide 9 is going to be an every down play. That's what Philadelphia did under the Chip Kelly era. Every single down was wide 9, and they got gashed up the middle. So I'm for it in pass rushing situations. 3rd and 10, 2nd and 13. Right? Even, technically 1st and 10 as well, you could technically do it. Line up on the outside, give me this wide 9 with extra pass rush during passing downs, but on running downs, maybe come back in. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but this is something that I was reading up on and I wanted to share with you guys to be mindful of and watch for here as we get closer to the start of the regular season. There you go, that's all the news and rumors we have time for today. Be sure to subscribe to Chat Sports and follow me on Twitter at @RealThomasMott for all the latest, as we of course have tons of NBA, NFL, and as always, more San Francisco 49ers news and rumors videos coming up next week. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. See you guys later.